Hello. I just wanted to thank Heather and Mark for introducing me to you guys. Thank you so much. I spoke with Caroline Murphy, and it was infectious. Her enthusiasm was like microwavable popcorn, just her heart exploding. So again, I just wanted to say thank you to Heather and Mark. And I made this video for your consideration. It's a bit long, but hello, I'm Patrick. I just wanted to share with you Art Factory. This is one of the buildings that is Art Factory. This is phase 3, and I just wanted to introduce myself. My studio is right up there, and that's where I paint. Here's the entrance to the art supply store. I get pretty addicted to metal and steel, so that's my banister. Here's the art supply store. Some of my paintings. I'll give you a little tour. So we've got lots of art supplies everywhere. On a cafe garden, so that is this, and I'm having a lot of fun. I was pretty proud of this swinging chair with I-beams.
Beautiful.
And yeah, and then that hurt. And then in the warehouse, this is phase 2, which is Live, Love, Art. You'll see Live, Love, Art, and come on in. And then gotta check out the chandelier. Check that baby out. And this will just give you a little bit of an idea of here. And there we go. Perfection. Okay. There we go. Hello. This is, I don't even know really the title of it. So, this is 5 feet by 16.5 feet. It's on 4 panels. It is, where does one even begin with this? I was diagnosed with cancer. My lymphatic system everywhere was blowing up like crazy. It was literally like I had like a tube of paint. My lymph nodes were so big that I was swollen everywhere like crazy. And then I did four months of chemotherapy, and then I got pneumonia, and I got, life's kind of a blur, to be honest. Life was very, time and space, I'm kind of cloudy about a lot of things. And I guess first I'll introduce myself. So, my name's Patrick John Mills. I've been painting for 32 years. And I have lived in Montreal, then Vancouver, then London, England. I struggled greatly when I was starting off. Things were very tough. Then I went to England, and I won some international awards. I had my artwork auctioned off at Christie's and Sotheby's in Paris and in London. There was a competition through ArtLink Sotheby's for young artists under the age of 40, and they had over 20,000 applicants from around the world, and only 40 artists were selected, and I was one of them. So it was a bit of a big deal. I had exhibitions at I forget all of them, but I was invited to meet the Queen of England and Tony Blair. There was a show through the Royal Commonwealth Society, and I was representing Canada for that. And I've won Best Poems of the 1990s by the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. I've done well with some recognition, and the building I own, Art Factory. I'm the sole proprietor of Art Factory, which will be the largest independently owned, non-government funded art center and space in Canada by an artist that I know of. And right now this phase 3 is to finish off the building. I have an art supply store and a warehouse, and then I have 4 satellite locations and the flagship here for art supplies in Renfrew. I decided to go over and do the art supplies because I wanted to share creativity with the public, and eventually to have this interactive for people who love art to be able to participate in just the joy of painting and the joy of being kind of free. If you love something, you wish to share it. So that leads me to this. The last few years I've been diagnosed with 3 forms of cancer. I had a melanoma surgery here. here. Then I did 4 months of chemotherapy. I went into a state of neutropenia. I got pneumonia and I got COVID. I was in and out of ICU for 3 months. I was in there for a lot. Then I was finally admitted into a coma, or I was finally admitted and put into a coma. I was in a coma with a trach for 52 days. I was on life support for 60 days, and I lost 86 pounds, and I lived in the hospital for 99 days consecutively. I had to relearn how to even lift my arm. The interesting thing, now that I mention that, what you'll notice is that the painting is all on 2x6s, and it's basically on the floor. I'll get to, and the reason for that is that when I painted this, my shoulders and arms, I couldn't even lift my arms up at that point. So I painted down here and like that. And because I'm so tall, I was painting and using my legs, and I would like paint everything. And then I would be able to kind of reach the top of the 5 feet. So that's kind of something, an insight to this. There's kind of stages, kind of existential stages of the journey of cancer. The first one is just, well, I'm no expert at it. Don't even have the words really. I went through and I started a scar series, then I did a malignant series of self-portraits, and then I was trying to manifest the positive energy in this other abstract series called Reverence. And then I was in the hospital for a very long time, and basically I did not go into my studio for a year and a bit. And when I was kind of sitting in the hospital beds or lying in the middle of the night in my bed, I had to go over or more specifically while I was in a coma. And what is the inspiration, and how did this series manifest itself? When you're in a coma, you lose your 5 senses. Your sense of touch, your taste, everything, hearing, everything's gone. And you go inward, or I did. And all your thoughts and all of your energy is in a spiritual space. And while you're in a coma, you can hear and process everything, and you can even hear prayer from people that love you from across the country, from overseas. It's like a cell phone. Sometimes you're driving your car and you think, oh, I'm thinking about my mom, or I'm thinking about my brother or my friend, and then like serendipitously they go over and they call you in like under 30 seconds, and you're like, what is going on? And the reality is that while in a coma, that
when all your other five senses are completely disabled, that is the one that is your superpower. That superpower of prayer, that superpower of manifesting spiritual energy and hope, and navigating through the energy and kind of dancing in the prism of light of love, and is kind of how you manifest and rebuild yourself, and how you honestly survive. Being in a coma, I suffer greatly from PTSD. I struggle. It's been a couple years since I've been out of ICU, and I still struggle quite a lot, unfortunately. And but I won't share that in this. Fuck it, I will. Imagine, so to describe being in ICU or being in a coma is, imagine you're a car and you're driving through the mountains of the Rocky Mountains, and all of a sudden, and it's late at night, and you're on this road, and then the fog comes, and you're driving, and then all of a sudden your car spins off the road and breaks through the barriers and starts going down a cliff, and you start toppling down this cliff, and you're like smashing, going down a mountainside, and you're like going like that the whole way down and just like being thrashed around. And then your car goes over and goes like that and then lands in the river. And then you go underwater. And as you're going underwater, you're sinking and sinking and sinking. And while you're sinking and going down deep, all the water is filling up. And you're staring up, and your seatbelt's in, you can't move your arms, and the water's coming up, and you're looking up, and there's this light that's like the moonlight or a street light, and there's this little whisper of prayer where you're looking up at that light as the water goes right up to here, and then you're stuck emotionally, and you keep having, and the terror and the absolute I don't even have a word for it, but you're suspended in having dreams to that magnitude and being in that space repeatedly over and over and over and over and over and over again, and I did for months in various different forms. But that moment that you're there, and you go over and you're like, and you do have positive dreams. The people that are beside you and the people that are praying for you go over, and literally prayer is like, you're in this dark room and there's this light. Say you're in this dark room and then there's a door that's shut and light is coming from underneath the door, and you have to kind of stare at that light to give hope and to remind yourself that the sun will, this will pass. And while I was in a coma, and while I got out of a coma, and for about a year and a half, I was thinking about, how to express this, how to go over and express this, the hope and the love, and how to have the language to communicate that journey of hope and light and rebuilding. And, you know, we talk about, or maybe we don't, maybe we should, that sense of hope and how there's two people kind of reaching for each other, and that energy of like God and the creation of the Sistine Chapel of God and man reaching in the clouds. And there's that energy field between people, that love that you have for someone. How do you paint that emotional love? How do you paint that spiritual language of kind of that? So I was thinking about that love, that energy, that spiritual communication, the voice of my soul. And this painting is, so I was manifesting all of this massive energy that was building up, just building like a massive bomb inside of me. And I had so much gratitude because I was treated by the doctors and the nurses and my wife and people that loved me so intimately. When I couldn't even lift my arm, or when I had a trach, or when the stomach tubes, the catheter and everything, and when I had diarrhea because my body shut down on so many things, you know, everything shut down, and I had nurses and people that took care of me, and there was so much fucking love that pulled me through. There was so much love, and I wanted to go over and reciprocate that love. It was really important to me to be able to reciprocate the gratitude and the love of the people that helped me. And so that's why this painting is it's a fair size. I came in. Some paintings take me a day. Some paintings take me I've worked on one painting up to 12 years, and painted it over and over again, and finally got it. Very demanding, very intense, and this painting honestly was something that I woke up in the morning a couple days before I primed it and prepared it and laid it out. And then I came in the morning of, walked in like a ghost. I wasn't even present. And the entire painting just came right out of me. And the entire thing was painted in 3.5 hours, all 16 and a half feet of it. And there was one breath of not channeling myself. It was like electricity just passing right through me, and the whole painting just came out like that. I used about $4,000 to $5,000 worth of paint. The quality of the pigments and the quality of the paint is, I brought out my caviar, my greatest china, my pearls, my everything, and just absolutely blew fireworks and communicated this and the whole thing. And the paint, the system of the palette is very complex. There's like 2 yellows, there's 2 reds, there's a hot and a cool. There's 2 different yellows, so it vibrates and oscillates the light and gives this, how the paint is handled was something that took me a 1.5 to 2 years. I was constantly thinking about how to render spiritual energy as the frequency of light, and how all of that kind of passes through in the voice of love. And that is essentially what this painting is about. The thickness of the paint, it is very thick. It has not left my studio since it was created. I think parts of it are very dry, no problem with this part, but there's a few little parts over here where the paint is like that thick and it comes out. And for that reason, this is an absolute jewel of a painting. It's very precious. It doesn't have really a price to it. I have sold 5,000-6,000 paintings in my life. The Prince of Morocco has stuff. I have it's in his palace in Morocco. I have tons. The mayor of Ottawa bought one for the art bank, the public art collection, and then they bought another one as well. I forget. They bought this other one that it's very large, or not very well compared to this. It's puny, but it was a big one, another big one, and then anyway, safe to say, my work's been recognized. I can paint landscapes. I can paint pretty much everything that I wish to in my own way. I just want to make sure that the painting is so that a child with an ice cream cone or someone bumps into it or someone goes up and wants to pick it. I want it so that it kind of has a natural barrier to it, so that people, I've had so many, I don't want it damaged. And I know that these little icicles, like whipped cream kind of details, I don't want them touched. It has to. I would like to go over and build a relationship with you. Cancer has massively impacted my life, and I ultimately want to share my art with people. And what I'm hoping is that we can go over and build a relationship of trust and respect and just healing and positivity and love for people, because art really is something. It's a language. It's an energy that is vitally important to the sterile, antiseptic. There's a communication of hope. And what I would like to do is, in the future, paint other large paintings. You give me an actual wall, we talk about it, I go visit the wall or the space, I measure it, I custom build something with that space in mind, and then I will create works for future areas that are very large. I have an over 10,000 square foot factory where I can make anything. And I have space for them to dry. This one is effectively dry. It's been a few years, but there's a couple little points there that if you really push it, it's kind of like a muffin with a little jelly in the middle of it. If you really push your finger and you stick it in there and you like scrape it, you'll go over and like break the seal of, like, if you puncture, it's like toothpaste. If you sit there and puncture it and you work hard enough, you'll get to it. But I've learned that people are pretty persistent and stupid. So I just want to safeguard from that. I learned that I actually need to have some self-respect and some boundaries or conditions as to giving, so that it is honored with so it's just so it's not damaged and taken for granted and trashed, which has happened unfortunately a few times, and I'm not into that. That gives you a clear indication of me. I'm going to show you the painting now. That's my rambling. And I look forward to speaking and meeting with you, and I hope this is well received. I've donated, I'll show you some of the other donations. I had so much gratitude towards the RVH. I invited the foundation over here, and they came over and they got to pick. Once I finished this one series, I did 40 or 50 works. They were all over my entire studio, and I let them pick the best ones. And then they had them installed in the new wing of their hospital on 2 separate walls, and I'll include that in the video. And that was an delightful experience. I also donated a 30-foot painting to the Mattaway Center, and that is welcoming everyone into the space in a beautiful way.
Pick out from the other side, maybe?
Ready, bro? Yeah. You ready to go on? Yeah. You're almost at the ledge, bud. We're good. Too high, right? Just put it on the ledge. I'm on the ledge. Okay, on the ledge? Yeah. We're on the ledge.